Hello YouTube. I don't really stick to politics that much. It's probably going to be one of my rare politics videos today. And today we're going to take a neutral stance on one of the most interesting issues and create kind of like a hybrid plan. So in this issue chat between the Democrats and the Republicans, this is a very widespread issue in the US. We're talking about actual world issues today. What I think about this chat is that there should be a hybrid plan. Talking about each side first, because each side, Democrat and Republicans, they're too stringent on their own ideas, and that's what causes a lot of major divide between both sides. Because in terms of talking about the border, it's a very controversial issue. Let's see, for Republicans on one other side, they say that all immigrants that come through should apply. All immigrants that come through should be they should be go screened through to be legal and then become genuine citizens of the US. And to be fair, they're not wrong with that argument. They're absolutely valid. Each side has their own valid points. They're valid to say that every single person that wants to come and immigrate to the US should be legal. You need to apply to the citizenships as everyone else does. And the Democrats on the other side, they're kind of more a little bit more lenient because this goes for people in terms of visas, in terms of asylum seekers. There are other people on the Democratic side that say we should allow a lot of immigrants to get there. We should allow people and undocumented migrants to stay in the US, in terms of finding asylum, finding citizenship, because they may say that the citizenship takes time to acquire. It takes time to acquire something like this, and especially if they're coming from a struggling country, you can't just deport them back because it would be pretty dangerous to go for them to go back there. And I definitely agree on the Democratic side for that. But then again, the Republican side is a little bit more stringent, in my opinion, at least what I've seen through the internet. And what I think about this is that it creates a really big divide, and it also creates a really big issue to highlight. Many problems out there, especially with deportations and all that stuff, each side highlights it to say that they're right, like this is the importance of this or that. But what I think by saying like all these "I told you" things when problems happen, like say someone gets deported, with each side bashing each other, it's a kind of like a blame game. I think that we should stop politicizing each other's issues. We should instead work together because we know for the Democrat and Republican side, very divided. We should kind of create like a hybrid plan. For the Democrats and Republicans, I believe they should, instead of a polarized climate, they should work together so that Republicans can understand not every migrant who comes through the US is inherently dangerous. Just because they're illegal doesn't mean they're dangerous. Some genuinely need the time for asylum, for a visa, and all that basic stuff. Valid arguments. But then again, Democrats, on the other hand, also need to understand that not every immigrant that comes through is inherently good. Not every person that comes through has good intentions. And that's what we also need to understand too. That this is why there should be a hybrid plan that encapsulates both of the Republican and Democrats' ideas. Republicans, albeit more stringent, should be more mixed with the Democrat side, which is more lenient. Which we should allow immigrants to go through the US, the good ones to go through, but then again, find a way to stop the immigrants with a bad malice in terms of like orchestrating dangerous events, in terms of like criminal intent by bad malice. That's why we should stop these people from going through. But then again, once we understand the ones that are genuinely struggling, we should allow them to go through. That's why I think this hybrid plan will be difficult to follow, but it's going to be something that could create lasting solutions for both parties. Because you see, chap, criminals work on political divisiveness. The more that politics is divided, the more that criminals have a chance to enter through borders, the more that people with criminal intent have to create dangers upon the U.S. I think they could create a similar event that, in terms of the dangers, maybe similar to an event of 9/11. If criminals and undocumented migrants with this term, quote unquote, bad malice go to the US, they might have that chance to create another event that is highly dangerous and could make a lot of people no longer alive. So I create this chance. Political divisiveness allows these criminals to pass through the borders unscathed, quiet and silent, and can go into a dormancy mode in the US until their plan is orchestrated, and then there's a lot of danger. That's the thing that I raised with political divisiveness is that if it stays in inflammation, think of the body constantly having inflammation, this metaphor. Think of political divisiveness as bodily inflammation. The more bodily inflammation that you have in your own body, the more risks that we have for increased certain types of cancer, such as sarcoma, lymphoma, brain cancer, brain tumors. And the same thing goes back into the US. The more that we have undocumented migrants that have this quote unquote bad malice, the more of a risk that we have of a dangerous event happening in the US. Of course, such an event is still pretty rare by today's statistics, but then again, it still remains a strong possibility. And that's why I raise this hybrid plan. We need to allow everyone a positive chance to go through, but remove the ones that have bad intent.